Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Hey everybody, Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. So happy that you've joined me today. You can do whatever you want with your time, and when you spend it with me, I'm honored. I really am. Anyway, the spirit of the show today is going to be about cooperation. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because Donald Trump did something that I think is somewhat revolutionary in politics. And that is, he decided, we're going to look at this DACA situation. I'm going to bring in these knucklehead moronic leftists. We're going to hear them out. We're going to give them a seat at the table. I want them to feel like they're building this plan. I swear, I watched this and so many things came to mind. So in sales, we have this thing called transferring ownership. And I've talked about this before, but it's probably a good time to review it. And what you do is you go into a corporation or you're meeting with a board of directors the same way Donald Trump met with these folks. And you say, okay, let's look at all the ideas. Now, you already know what you want. So what happened was Feinstein comes in, and I'm going to play the clip here a little bit later. But Feinstein comes in and she says, look, we need DACA. We've got a certain amount of time. We got to have DACA. And then one of the congressmen, GOP, says, well, you can't just have DACA without security and yada, yada. And well, what was funny is you watch Trump, they list these three things out. And Donald Trump says, yeah, we also have to have, I forget, I think, what did he say? He added two other things. Visas. We gotta have only the best coming in. Well, I forget how he framed it, but there were two other things that he asked for. And the point is not that, because I'll get to it later on. But what he did is he's saying, okay, crafted, but here's some ideas. I'm just putting these out there. But what was really cool about it was how he said, no. This is going to be your work. I'm not here to tell you what to do. This is your work. I'm just going to throw some ideas out. And so when they bring it back to him, he's going to go, wait a minute, didn't somebody suggest that we have to bring in only the best? What do he call it? Honor-based or, something like that, merit-based, and somebody, oh, yeah, that was brought up. Okay, I'm watching this guy do exactly what you have to do with large companies where you've got institutional thinking. I want you to think about a Fortune 100 company that's worth billions of dollars, 50 billion or above, and everybody in there has been there, that has been around. They've built their fiefdoms and they don't want to let go of their power. And you come in as this duty consultant and you say, you need change over here, change. And everybody's going, how's this going to affect my pay? Is it going to out me as not being effective enough? Years of waste, mismanagement, etc. They all get defensive. It's very rare that somebody goes, no, we run at the top notch, because they wouldn't have you in there. And unless it's a review where the guys go, look, we're just tweaking the process. Most of these guys are running scared. Congress runs scared. They're scared because they aren't going to get reelected. They've made promises. They've got their agendas or whatever. Trump's not running scared. He's the consultant. He's coming in saying, well, what about this? Have you thought about fixing that? Think about what I just said to you. Donald Trump he's come into America not as a role that, I'm going to run this thing. He's saying, no, I'm a consultant looking at all the little problems that that have been created. And it's shaking the foundation of the people who are afraid because they don't know how to fix it. They've got their agendas. And I'll use a perfect example. I went into a company that has 22 different divisions, and some of them actually are complementary to each other, and others have nothing to do with the business. So first thing I said is, why are you in these businesses that have nothing to do with the business? But that's a whole other thing. But the complementary businesses weren't buying from each other. So imagine if you made a car and you didn't buy your wheels from one of your own divisions. You get what I'm saying? Or you didn't buy the engine from one of your own divisions or the drivetrain. And I would say, why aren't you buying? And I went into this company. I said, why aren't you buying the parts from each other? And one of the guys goes, man, sometimes it's more difficult to do to actually do this inside of the company than to go to an outside vendor. Well, red flag. It should be easier to do business with yourself than anybody else. So that's number one. Number two, he says, well, being honest with you, Kev, we don't always have the best price. Okay, well, that's flag number 2, because number 1, your division should be competitive unless you're the Neiman Marcus and the other guys are the Walmarts. But in this case, it really wasn't. But okay, we can look at competitiveness down the road, but you should still be able to get a better deal, not having to ship it, and so on and so forth. And so when it came down to was this, it was too big of a problem for the guy to think about when the old system wasn't broken, and he was afraid that if he decided to fix it, that he would get paid less. That's what it boiled down to. The president of that division said, here's how we get paid. And I've got a formula that makes sure I maximize my paycheck. What you're telling me may give me an incremental boost, but I know I'm going to get my fat paycheck the way I do it now. It was selfishly driven. It had nothing to do with how good the company was going to do. It had to do with how good he would do as an individual. His division, I should say, was going to do. He didn't care if the company burned to the ground. All those other divisions that could support him or anything else, he didn't care. If one of his division managers, co-presidents were to say, look, Bill, we're struggling a little bit over here. Can you guys buy your parts from us internally? He'd go, nope. It didn't do him any good. That's the way government runs. Or it used to, where everybody had their little piece and they go, I don't care what happens with the rest of y'all. As long as I get my funding and my money, I don't really care. And Trump's going, nope, we don't work like that anymore. Everything is going to run smoother. Everything is going to run better because we're going to look at what's best for the country, not best for you individually. The Democrats want DACAs and Dreamers for one reason and one reason only, and I'll talk about that. And so he's breaking up the fee. He's saying, look, I'm going to make you feel like you got what you wanted. But in the end, the country must win. And I don't know how you guys feel, but this is a good feeling to me. And let me go ahead and warn you. The left is going to demonize Donald Trump. They're going to tell, oh, look at him. See, he gave them what they wanted. They wanted all these illegals, and look at what Donald Trump did. Don't believe that hype. Donald Trump told us exactly what he was going to do. He says, I do believe we have a moral position to look at these kids who were brought over and don't know what they're doing, but we're not just going to let them in without comprehensive immigration reform. Ask yourself when we've had anybody addressing this issue.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.